Marcus Riley stood outside Luigi's Italian bistro with his 6-year-old daughter Emma clutching his hand, her birthday tiara slightly crooked on her head. Through the restaurant's large windows, he could see families laughing over plates of pasta, candles flickering on white tablecloths, the warm glow of celebration filling every corner. He'd promised Emma they'd have her birthday dinner here, the place she'd been talking about for months after seeing it in a movie. But the hostess had just turned them away, her eyes scanning Marcus's worn work boots and paint-splattered jeans with barely concealed disdain. "We're fully booked," she'd said, though Marcus could count at least 3 empty tables from where he stood. Emma's hand squeezed his tighter, and he felt his heart crack just a little more. Marcus had been doing this alone for 2 years now, ever since Sarah's car accident had stolen her away from them on a rainy November night. Every morning he woke at 5, got Emma ready for school, worked double shifts at the construction site, picked her up, helped with homework, made dinner, and collapsed into bed only to do it all again. Money was always tight, but he'd been saving for weeks, tucking away $5 or $10 whenever he could, just to give Emma this one special night. She deserved magic. She deserved to feel like a princess, even if just for one evening. "It's okay, Daddy," Emma said, her voice small but brave, the way kids try to be when they sense their parents are hurting. "We can go somewhere else." But Marcus saw the way her lower lip trembled, how her fingers touched the plastic tiara she'd insisted on wearing. He'd bought it at the dollar store that morning, and she'd worn it like it was made of real diamonds. "No, baby," Marcus said, kneeling down to meet her eyes. "It's your birthday. You wanted Luigi's, and we're going to." "Excuse me." A deep voice interrupted him. Marcus looked up to see a tall man in an impeccably tailored suit standing beside them. He was perhaps in his late 40s, with silver threading through his dark hair and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "I couldn't help but overhear. Is there a problem?" Marcus stood, instinctively pulling Emma closer. "No problem, sir. We were just leaving." The man's eyes shifted to Emma's tiara, then back to the restaurant. "It's someone's birthday, I gather." His voice was kind, and something about it made Marcus's defenses lower slightly. "I'm 6 today," Emma announced, holding up 6 fingers, her momentary sadness forgotten in the excitement of telling someone her news. "6 is a very important age," the man said seriously. "I remember when my daughter turned 6. She wanted a unicorn party, and I had to explain that real unicorns were very hard to find." Emma giggled, and the sound loosened something in Marcus's chest. The man extended his hand. "I'm Robert Chen." Marcus shook it. "Marcus Riley. This is Emma." Robert's handshake was firm, genuine. Then he did something unexpected. He turned and walked directly into Luigi's, gesturing for them to follow. Marcus hesitated, but Emma was already tugging him forward, curiosity overcoming disappointment. Inside, the hostess's eyes widened when she saw Robert, her face paling slightly. "Mr. Chen, I didn't know you were dining with us tonight. Your usual table." "Actually, Vanessa," Robert said, his tone pleasant but carrying an edge that made the hostess straighten her spine, "I'm wondering why you told this gentleman and his daughter that you were fully booked when I can see several open tables." Vanessa's mouth opened and closed. We're expecting reservations, and I thought." "You thought what, exactly?" Robert's voice remained calm, but there was steel beneath the silk. "That a man in work clothes couldn't afford to eat here. That his money wasn't as good as someone else's." The restaurant had grown quieter, other diners watching the scene unfold. Marcus felt his face grow hot with embarrassment, but also something else, vindication. Maybe, that someone was finally calling out what he'd experienced but had been too tired to fight. "Sir, I apologize, Vanessa stammered. Robert held up a hand. "This establishment has forgotten something fundamental. Every person who walks through that door deserves respect, regardless of how they're dressed or what they do for a living. This man works in construction, judging by his clothes. Do you know what that means? It means he builds things. He creates with his hands. There's honor in that." He turned to Marcus. "What kind of work do you do?" "Commercial buildings, mostly," Marcus said quietly. "Right now we're working on the new children's hospital downtown." Something flickered in Robert's eyes, recognition, respect. "The children's hospital. My company is one of the donors for that project. So in a way, we're colleagues." He turned back to Vanessa. "I want you to seat Mr. Riley and his daughter at the best table in the house. And their dinner tonight is on me. Mr. Chen, that's not necessary, Marcus started, pride making him want to refuse. It's absolutely necessary, Robert said firmly. It's your daughter's birthday, and she deserves a celebration. Plus, I'm the CEO of Chen Industries, and we happen to own this restaurant. So I insist. Marcus felt the ground shift beneath him. This wasn't just a kind stranger, this was someone with real power, choosing to use it for good. Emma was looking up at Robert with something like awe, her birthday tiara catching the light. Vanessa, thoroughly chastened, led them to a beautiful corner table with a view of the city lights. As they sat down, Robert leaned down to Emma's level. What's your favorite dessert? Chocolate cake, Emma said without hesitation. Then chocolate cake you shall have. The biggest piece they can make. Robert straightened, preparing to leave, but Marcus stood too. Mr. Chen. Robert, I don't know what to say. Thank you doesn't seem like enough. Robert's expression softened. I know what it's like to be judged unfairly. My parents came to this country with nothing. My father worked 3 jobs, wore second-hand clothes, and was treated like he didn't belong in nice places. But he taught me that a person's worth isn't measured by their bank account or their clothes, it's measured by their character, their work ethic, their heart. He glanced at Emma, then back to Marcus. You're raising your daughter alone. Marcus nodded, not trusting his voice. Then you're doing one of the hardest, most important jobs in the world. Don't ever let anyone make you feel less than because you're working hard to provide for her. Robert reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. I meant what I said about the hospital project. If you ever need anything, a reference, a better opportunity, call me. As Robert walked away, Marcus sank back into his chair, the card heavy in his hand. Emma was already studying the menu with serious concentration, sounding out words she recognized. Daddy, what's fettuccine? A kind of pasta, baby, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. You can have whatever you want. The dinner that followed was everything Marcus had hoped for. Emma ordered spaghetti and meatballs, her favorite, and ate with exaggerated elegance, trying to twirl the noodles like a proper lady. They talked about her day at school, her best friend Jessica, the chapter book her teacher was reading to the class. For those hours, Marcus forgot about the bills waiting at home, the leaky faucet he needed to fix, the exhaustion that lived in his bones. He just watched his daughter's face light up with joy. When the chocolate cake arrived, it was spectacular, 3 layers tall, covered in rich frosting, with a sparkler shooting golden light into the air. The entire restaurant staff sang happy birthday, and Emma's smile was so wide Marcus thought his heart might burst. Other diners clapped, strangers celebrating this little girl they'd never met, and Marcus realized that Robert's actions had rippled outward, reminding everyone in the room of something essential. Kindness matters, dignity matters, how we treat each other matters. Later, as they walked to their car, Emma clutching a leftovers box and still wearing her tiara, Marcus pulled out Robert's card under a streetlight. Chen Industries. He knew the name, everyone in construction did. They were one of the biggest development companies in the region. And the CEO had stood up for him, had seen his worth when others had looked right through him. Daddy. Emma's sleepy voice broke into his thoughts. That was the best birthday ever. Marcus lifted her into his arms, even though she was getting too big for it, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Yeah, baby. It really was. 3 months later, Marcus would start a new job as a project supervisor at Chen Industries, with better pay and reasonable hours that let him make it to Emma's school plays and parent-teacher conferences. But that night, walking through the parking lot with his daughter in his arms, the real gift wasn't the promise of future opportunities. It was the reminder that good people still existed, that humanity still mattered, that one person choosing kindness could change everything.